The cafe was warm, but the world outside the glass doors looked cold and unforgiving, snow drifting down like silent reminders of everything life could take away in a single moment. People inside barely noticed the small girl standing at the entrance, her thin arms gripping metal crutches, her legs trembling not from the cold but from the effort of simply standing upright. She paused, took a breath far bigger than her small chest should have to take, and scanned the room with careful eyes. Then she asked the question that would quietly change every life in that cafe forever: could she sit there? If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human compassion, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this deserve to be felt, not forgotten. The girl was no older than 7, her pink dress slightly wrinkled beneath a winter coat that had seen better days. One of her legs was a prosthetic, carefully fitted but still awkward, and each movement required focus and courage most adults never need to summon. She had the kind of eyes that carried more weight than years should allow, eyes that had learned disappointment early and hope carefully. Behind her, the door slowly closed, cutting off the rush of icy air and sealing her inside a space where warmth did not automatically mean welcome. At a small wooden table near the window sat a U.S. Marine in uniform, broad-shouldered and rigid in posture, as if discipline lived inside his bones. His hair was trimmed short, his face worn in a way that spoke of places far from this quiet cafe. Beside him sat a German shepherd, calm, alert, eyes scanning the room with professional patience. The dog wore a service harness, its presence commanding respect without demanding attention. People noticed them, then quickly looked away, unsure whether to admire, fear, or simply avoid. The girl took a hesitant step forward. Each movement drew subtle glances from strangers pretending not to stare. She approached the table slowly, as if expecting to be turned away before she even reached it. Her crutches tapped softly against the floor, a sound that cut through the low hum of conversation like a heartbeat. She stopped beside the empty chair across from the Marine and looked up at him, her courage visibly shaking but unbroken. The Marine noticed her immediately. Years of training had taught him to read rooms, to sense vulnerability, to spot danger and pain even when it tried to hide. He saw the way her fingers clenched the handles of her crutches, the way her shoulders tightened as if bracing for rejection. He also noticed how people nearby stiffened, some shifting uncomfortably, others watching with quiet curiosity. Moments like this often passed without anyone truly stepping in. Life had trained most people to look away. The cafe held its breath. The girl's question was simple, but everything about it carried history. It carried hospital hallways, whispered conversations she pretended not to hear, stares from strangers, classrooms that never quite fit her body. It carried the memory of being told no in ways both loud and silent. Sitting down was never just sitting down for her. It was asking to belong, even briefly, in a world that often made no room. The Marine did not rush. He glanced at the chair, then at the dog, then back at the girl. Something softened in his expression, a crack in the hardened exterior built by years of loss and survival. He shifted slightly, creating space not just physically but emotionally. The dog remained still, sensing no threat, only a fragile moment that required calm rather than command. The girl carefully moved forward, positioning herself with practiced precision. Lowering herself into the chair took effort, her body fighting gravity in a way most people never noticed. When she finally sat, relief washed over her face, followed almost immediately by surprise. No one had stopped her. No one had sighed or looked annoyed. No one had told her that seat was taken in ways that had nothing to do with chairs. Around them, the cafe slowly resumed its rhythm, but something had changed. People who had been pretending not to watch now watched openly. There was no drama, no loud gestures, yet the simplicity of the moment carried weight. The Marine did not treat her like a fragile object or a burden. He treated her like a human being who deserved space. As minutes passed, something remarkable unfolded. The girl's shoulders relaxed. Her breathing slowed. The tightness in her face softened into something closer to peace. The dog, sensing her calm, turned its head slightly, meeting her gaze. For a moment, fear flickered in her eyes, shaped by past experiences where animals were unpredictable or people used them to intimidate. But the dog did not move. It simply watched, steady and patient, a living symbol of trust earned through consistency. The Marine noticed her curiosity and gently placed his hand on the dog's back, grounding both of them. The dog remained seated, its presence reassuring rather than imposing. The girl's hand hovered in the air, uncertain, then slowly lowered to touch the dog's fur. Her fingers sank into warmth, real and solid, and something in her expression broke open. It was the look of someone who had expected pain and found safety instead. What most people did not know was that the Marine had lost more than anyone could see. Years earlier, an explosion overseas had taken the lives of 2 members of his unit and left him with scars that never fully healed. The dog beside him had been trained not just as a service animal but as a lifeline, pulling him back from panic, grounding him when memories threatened to take over. They had saved each other in ways that did not fit neatly into words. And the girl had lost something too. An accident when she was younger had taken her leg and reshaped her future overnight. She had learned resilience early, but resilience came at a cost. Childhood had become something she had to fight for instead of something freely given. Every public space carried risk. Every interaction was a gamble between kindness and cruelty. As they sat together, 2 lives shaped by loss intersected in a space neither had planned. The Marine listened as the girl shared pieces of herself through quiet gestures and careful expressions. He did not interrupt her presence with pity or questions. He simply allowed her to exist beside him without conditions. That, more than anything, shocked the room. A woman at a nearby table wiped her eyes. A man pretending to read his phone put it down, suddenly aware of something important unfolding. A barista paused mid-motion, watching the unlikely trio with a lump in her throat. It was not about the uniform or the dog or the prosthetic leg. It was about what happened when someone chose not to look away. Time stretched gently, unmeasured. The girl's laughter eventually broke through, soft at first, then freer, sparked by the dog's subtle movements and the Marine's quiet reactions. For once, she was not the center of attention because of what she lacked, but because of the joy she shared. When the moment came for her to leave, she stood carefully, balancing herself with practiced determination. She hesitated, then placed her hand briefly against the Marine's arm, a small gesture heavy with meaning. Gratitude does not always come wrapped in words. Sometimes it lives in touch, in eye contact, in the way someone stands a little taller afterward. As she moved toward the door, something remarkable happened. People shifted chairs, opening paths. A stranger held the door without making a show of it. The world did not suddenly become perfect, but it became gentler, if only for a moment. And moments like that matter more than people realize. The Marine watched her go, feeling something loosen inside his chest. He had not fixed her life. He had not erased her struggles. But he had given her something equally powerful, proof that she could ask and not be turned away. The dog rested its head against his leg, sensing the quiet victory. Before the video ends, take a moment to comment below and share what this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power of small choices and quiet kindness, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this only live on when we carry them forward. The girl stepped back into the snow, her crutches leaving faint marks behind her, but she walked differently now. Not faster, not easier, but stronger. Somewhere behind her, a Marine and his dog returned to their coffee, unaware that their simple act had restored faith not just for one child, but for everyone who witnessed it. And in a world that often feels divided and indifferent, that kind of shock is exactly what we need.